All right, peeps, back. I know I haven't done a lot of videos lately, but today we're going to do a valve adjustment. I'm making a little noise. I hope it's the valves. Gosh, I don't know if it's a chain loosened up on me or something, but it's making a lot more noise than it used to, the little Grommy. I beat it really hard. Pretty much a wide open bike pretty much every time I ride it. So you can tell it's my day off because it looks like it's going to rain. It's a typical deal. But on any of these videos, I like to start out with the tools you need, because I think that's what most people need to know. We'll start out. I like to take the spark plug out. You can really tell when you're on top dead center by sticking a straw down there, or I'll show you a trick to do that too, because you can be all the way open or all the way shut, and you want it to be shut when you do the job. The rocker arm will be a tad loose, but it's really hard to tell because it's not very loose at all. So you need a 5/8 inch spark plug wrench. That's for the smaller one that you get. The side covers that you've got. Actually, let me show you what we got. We got two different. Luckily, I have these. You can use a regular Allen's wrench or whatever. But this guy right here is a 10 millimeter. And this guy is a 6 millimeter. This is the inspection cover. This is the cover that comes off and then allows you to turn the crank. It'll turn a lot easier with the spark plug out too. You won't be fighting compression. You want to go counterclockwise when you do that. So these two little buggers, you need a 6 and a 10. And this is for taking the actual valve covers off. It's an 8 millimeter. And they shouldn't be under a lot of torque, but they come off easy. There's one here and one here. They're just two little bolts that hold them on. They're just little, little covers. They are a bear to work with, I'll tell you. And the price of admission, if you've got one of these offset wrenches and it's got to be 9 millimeter, that's what the locking nut is for the tappet. There'll be a locking nut and there'll be a little tiny nut. You can turn it with your hand once you loosen it, but the trick is you've got to hold it while you're tightening, and the slightest little bit of movement while you're tightening will adjust it quite a bit. Those adjusters, you move them a teeny bit and they move a lot. I wish it was designed a little bit differently, so that'll be that. It's a 17 millimeter to turn the crank, and I'm just using a deep well because it may be back in there a little ways. So a 17 millimeter for the turning the crank, and that's really all you need. And I like getting my tools together right away. Oh, the one thing I forgot, feeler gauges. Alrighty, yeah, almost forgot the feeler gauges. I've done on my older Grom a valve job, so basically I had to bend them. I tell you, that port that you go into to adjust the valves is very difficult to get to using a straight feeler. There's probably one that's actually made for it. But what I did is I just put like a little bit of a bend in them. The exhaust is, I don't know if you can see this with this camera, is 7 thousandths or 0.17. As you can see, this says 1.8. It's within the tolerance. If I had them in millimeters, I would use a 0.17 is what the actual one, because Japanese use metric. So what the heck. And the intake is smaller. It's a 4 thousandths or a 0.10, which that matches up, both the millimeters and the inches. So that should be the one. And again, when you feel in there, everyone says you should feel like almost if it had stuck to a magnet and you're dragging it off a magnet. I don't know. You just want a little bit of a tug is what you want when you do those. So we'll get after it. It's one of those jobs that's super easy to do in your mind, but it's hard to do when you're actually manipulating your fingers in there and doing it. And I'll tell you, don't be frustrated, because the first time you tighten that lock nut down, feeling cocky, you get in there and it's loose or it's real tight. Got to unloosen it, do it again, tighten it back. You may have a couple of hits on it. And my advice is check your clearances before you loosen the lock nut. Don't do that first. You might be dead nuts on, and believe me, you don't want to have to screw with it if you don't have to. So don't loosen that lock nut. Again, that's a 9 millimeter for that lock nut. And that's an odd size. A lot of kits come in evens up till you get to about 12, then you'll get a 13, 17, 19 if you got a bigger set. But the smaller numbers to get the odd sizes sometimes is weird. I just happen to luckily have this little Craftsman. It's an old-time one. And being the offset, you'll find when I get into that cover, it's a lot nicer. This is like almost the perfect tool, short of having the actual real tool you're supposed to have. There's one that's really nice, but I'm not springing for that. So We'll get her done. You can see I got the Maxxis tires on there. Oh, one other quick note. I like putting it on a stand to keep the bike totally vertical. You will ooze a little oil out of this cover. You're right about there. So a little oil will ooze out. I shouldn't have any oozing of oil having it upright like that. So that's why I go ahead and put it on a stand. Oh, the dust and crap on there. So I had it off. I had to clean the weeds out of it. So. Alrighty, we'll get after it and show you what we're talking about here. Alrighty, so first thing you do is take off these inspection covers. Careful, there's no gaskets that can get disrupted, and there is a little rubber one right there. I'm not going to move it. Oh, it moved. Oh, it moved, Jerry, it moved. Yeah, just be careful of that. I didn't buy any gaskets for this job. I guess yeah, you could replace them if you wanted to. I think they're fine. We'll take the lower off first. See what happens here. Make sure you're going the right way. Oh boy, they're under some torque. Doesn't seem to be any washers or any gaskets. Now there is a gasket under here. You want to be careful of that, which I just wasn't. And there is some oil in there, quite a bit of oil. But the oil looks dirty already. I just did an oil change. I think I might do another. I tell you, because my bike is making some noise. I should have started it for everybody and let you hear that noise. Hopefully this corrects what ails me. Is what I'm hoping. Ooh, got it. Yikers. Let's see if I can get this thing on there. Yep, somebody must have rounded it or something, because this 8mm is not going on. I tell you what, I think I'm going to strip it out. Well, kids, we're only doing the exhaust today. Well, I should be getting into top dead center. Yeah, we're definitely at top dead center. I can feel the cylinders right there, which is a good way to do it. That's the T, and that's the knock. She's at top dead center, boys and girls. Deal. So this little piece on the top there, that little nipple, that's the actual tappet that adjusts. This nut on the outside, which is a 9mm, is what loosens it. And you want to get your feeler way under there. The exhaust is easier to do than the top. Like I said, I'm not doing the top because that nut is rounded off under so much torque. I finally got a bite on it. I swear to God, it's an aluminum bolt. I felt it starting to twist. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I might have to heat it up and try to get it off and then do an adjustment later. But holy rum pumper. We're going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to show a good video of me actually working on it because I just cannot get in a camera angle. Other guys do it. Check their videos out. I don't know, boys. It's easy to do, but it's hard to actually do it. Does that make any sense? Tell you what, boys. That freaking valve is right on. It's close enough that I'm not loosening it. Well, that's good news and bad news because that wasn't the noise I was hearing. Unless it's an intake. My other thought was this exhaust is leaking. You know? I don't know. She's making noise though, boys. Boy, I wish we could get that top one off, but I am not messing. Yep. Screw it. Alrighty, I'm gonna button it back up and see what's going on. We definitely had top dead center. Everything looked good. I don't know. I guess valves aren't the problem, kids. Dang. I'll do a little startup and I'll let you listen to what it sounds like when it's running. So. Might just be in my mind, I don't know. Sounds okay now. Maybe just because the idle's low. Noise. You guys comment if you think that's something. Even at idles, it's just glug, 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 glug. Glug, 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 glug. I don't know. What are you gonna do? But there's the, got a little bit of pit bull in there. This is the guard dog, keeps my bikes all guarded. Killer hound. Yeah, she's not a real photogenic. Yeah, I got this one to ride. Yeah, I'm zippins, but it could be a chain, you know, getting sloppy in there, causing a valve knot. I could have a camshaft that's a little bit weird. Yeah, it could be low end bearing. Yikes. I pray that ain't that, because I don't feel like doing that for it. That's a little beyond my mechanical ability, too, so. Right. Alrighty, well, this is Rich, MSX 125, signing off.